On. Should be jumping live here. Actually, might even be live right now. Yep, we are live. Live in effect. All right. Just like to give it a second, get people going here. All right. Let me move up my hat. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Daily Motivation 365 Days of Consistency, doing the same things over and over again until they become habit. And I'm here with a wonderful special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Guy, Toastmaster extraordinaire, TED Talk speech spokesman, and just an awesome guy. Known him for a long time now, about 3-4 years, and he's always been solid, a great communicator, and that's why I wanted to bring him on for this topic for today. And Mark, being a great communicator, speaking for many, many, many years in Toastmasters, being a professional public speaker, why do you think having great communication skills is important or paramount to creating success in one's life?
Rich, you hit the nail on the head. Without communication, how can you even dream of having a success? Forget about it. Success will elude you if you are not a student, a practitioner of the very best communication skills that you can have. You don't have
Mm,
to become a professional speaker or trainer, but you must work on your communication skills, wherever that is, in your partnership, in your personal relationship, in your business, with your kids, with everyone that you are working with. This is what I tell every one of my clients, and I do teach communication skills and leadership skills as well, is
very
that
nice.
it doesn't really matter what you say. What matters is what people hear.
Mm,
Matters is what people hear. So when I believe in precision in communication. There's no word, there's no gesture, there's no pause, there's no sequence of stories that is um, that doesn't matter. Everything matters, and the more time you spend on communication, you understand the craft, you understand the precision, you understand that you can say a lot with few words, and I think you continuously
mm,
grow. I feel that being a good communicator will elevate the quality of your life, and I think you as a leader, Rich, you and everyone who is watching, you must invest in the communication. And when you invest in communication, you become a better listener. Because I
mm,
feel that everyone has a story to tell, and we must tell our stories, not discount it, not devalue it, not to dismiss it. But I think what world needs even more is a lot more listeners. And when you listen to other people's stories and you learn how they communicate, you in turn become a better communicator. So instead of coming from your own ego or from your own desires of where you want to go, a lot of times you allow yourself to be compassionate through listening, so you understand where your tribe is, where your people are, where they want to go, and you can lead them better. So communication is not just communicating. It's very big part is listening. And a lot of times people don't want to listen. They don't have time, or they never been taught how to listen. But I think it takes humility, grace, and true intention. I mean, we only have one life. Why can't we just be the very best communicators of value, but also better listeners as well?
and I love that, Mark. So what you're saying is when you create great communication skills, a part of those communication skills is the listening aspect.
Absolutely. I feel that people crave to be acknowledged. That's why people
Mm,
join Toastmasters. They want to get social settings, they want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be supported. You and I have met through Toastmasters International.
right.
It's a nonprofit worldwide educational organization, probably the best one on the planet. If
I
you're
think
not
so.
part of it, look it up, join today, invest some time in exploring the options for you. And a lot of times we need to give that space for people to shine. We need for them to bask in their resources, their gifts, and in everything they have to offer. And if you are not a communicator that understands this, how can you ever even begin to build relationships? I think a lot
Mm,
of times in my business as well, I deal with a lot of executives and rock stars in the industry, subject matter experts. And they can tell you things, they put in the dues, they did their work, and they diligently became truly are stars in their field.
right.
But a lot of times some communication is missing. So I tell them everything is teachable, everything is learnable. Let's take
Mm,
it where you are. And another very interesting thing about this work is that a lot of my clients are very deep or very close to their own content. They have siloed departments or interaction with partners, so it's very narrow. And what we try to do is get them outside of their own brain, outside of their own head, so they can see all the other beautiful connections. And so it's not just in their own head, but they can articulate it with precision, persuasion, and
mm.
connection.
And I 100% agree with you, Mark. And I think it's so important. Everyone does have a story. And one of my greatest mentors told me once when I got off stage, and he said, Rich, feedback is the breakfast of champions. And that's what I always loved about Toastmasters is they give you instant feedback about your communication. So you can go back and see how you can improve the way you speak and actually, like you said, the way people hear. Like my mentor Les Brown said, don't get what you want to say in the way of what people need to hear. And I've always thought that quote was so profound. I live by that quote to make sure that I'm always communicating what people need to hear versus just saying what I would like to say. And I think having great communication skills is so important because if you cannot relay the message doesn't get relayed. So if you are unable to give the message correctly for people to absorb, they won't absorb it. And so there was really no communication there in the first place. So the way we say things, we have to say it in a way that people can hear it, and everyone hears things differently. And one of the things I like about communication is the influence part, because I think all communication is just expression of thought. That's all communication is, just the expression of thought. And if you have a thought that you want to express, you have to do it in a correct way. And I think the best ways to do it is to influence without influencing. And what I mean by that is, I was on stage once doing a show in Tampa Theater. And I say this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I sold every single book I had that I brought with me. And I was kicking myself because I should have brought more. But the speech that I gave, I was trying to sell my book. Obviously, I want to sell my books, but I never used any words like sales or please buy or come get or I'll meet you at the back of the table. Nothing like that. All I did was I told a story about my life and how stupid I was throughout my life and all the mistakes I made and how I shifted and how that change came about was gaining great knowledge and listening to great mentors ahead of me, reading biographies and reading great literature and learning from sages and wise men and really dissecting their words so I can instill it in my own thought processes. And all I did was put that in the book that I want to share with my audience. And people said, okay, I want to go buy this book because they saw, okay, how did he go from, you know, born to poor parents out of Haiti, um, in a tough environment, getting kicked out of college twice, could not keep a job, could not keep a woman, overweight, and all these negative things happened to my life to sitting on stage speaking um, for Les Brown. And I said the only reason it happened is through the knowledge that I've gained, and all I want to do is share it with the audience. And that type of communication of authentic, opening up, really being vulnerable, telling your truth, I think is the best communication because people want that human connection. And
Mhm.
people talk about AI, and one thing AI will never be able to do is have human connection. And I think that is why success comes from that human connection, either to sell or to influence. That's your kids, that's your wife, that's your parents, that's people in your community, is to tell an authentic, real story. And that's one thing a robot will never be able to do. And that's some skills that we have and that we want to share with our audience. So Mark, where can people that watch this video find you and your expertise?
Thank you, Rich. I am conveniently located on the web, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I have my own website and Google My Business. Just if you on Google, type in my name, Mark, Gai, Mark Guy. Or if you're on Facebook, make sure you go to my business page. And it's also Mark Guy, speaker Mark Guy. And follow me, like me, and just send me a message. Say, I saw this on Rich Fontaine, Mark. I have the story. It wants to come out. It wants to come out. Please help me. Just will you listen to it or give me some of your feedback? I love to connect with people. I love to hear in stories, like I said, and
Yes.
I love the way you do things, Rich, is because you have passion. Passion is irresistible. It's unmistakable. And people want the piece of that passion. They're like, oh, I want that passion for me just a little bit. Put it on the shoulder, and so I can be not like you, but I can see myself doing the very best. And I think people are attracted to passion and vulnerability, authenticity. But you will not get there unless you practice, unless you get
Yes.
in the field. Just because you speak with authenticity, it's good, but it's a start. You have to be committed to the discipline of learning and
Mhm.
understanding how communication works, was it's received, and how you can build upon.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mark. And I thank you for that. And I want to leave with one quick story that people may not know that watch this is when I joined Toastmasters, um, Mark had to evaluate me many times. So Mark was kind of my first coach in speaking. And I remember I did a speech once and Mark reamed me. He just reamed me. He's just like, Rich, you could do so much better. Really, is that what you came up with? And man, I remember going home that day, like kicking myself in the butt because I never wanted to disappoint my team and the people that really supported me. And I remember just completely tossing that speech, ripping it up, throwing it away, and making a brand new one. And I came back the following week, and you said, yes, you know what? That's better. And it was things like that that makes people good. And I want people to take that away from this talk is the way I speak, the way Mark speaks, we didn't start that way. It took years of practice and it took years of feedback. And
Mhm.
sometimes the feedback is harsh. Sometimes it doesn't feel good to get told, hey, man, that sucked. But what it did was make you ask the right questions. Why did that suck? What could I have done better? Why was I up to par than how I am? And it always makes you to have points. So whenever you do a speech, you remember certain things and that gets you better. Now it becomes habit. Now it becomes osmosis. And now it becomes your skill set. And so, Mark, I want to thank you for always coaching me, helping me out, staying on my side. And I want people to check out Mark's podcast, Speak Brave. He does one with every day or a couple times a week, I think.
At least a couple times a week. It's video, audio, it's everywhere podcasts are heard.
Yes. So if you want to learn great, authentic speaking skills, please check out Mark Guy for Speak Brave podcast. And Mark, thank you again for doing this with me.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you, sir. And everybody, again, please understand that if you want to be an authentic speaker, if you want to have the skills, you want to have the know-how, it takes practice, like anything else. Like anything else. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching Daily Motivation. This is Rich Fontaine. You can agree with me or not agree with me, but either way I feel, this was a successful conversation. Love is love, and I appreciate all of you. Namaste. I think we're off. Let me make sure. Hold on. Wait, no, I think I'm still live.